Hey everybody, it's Barbara Ann. Welcome back to my channel, Straight Out of Context. Copyright disclaimer. Under the Copyright Act of 1976, under fair use, under public domain, under TikTok third-party license, and TikTok automatic live third-party license, I am within my right to share these clips. These creators also allow reshare, redistribution, and download of their content. They are also credited in the description box as well as the video. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. All views, expressions, thoughts, feelings, and opinions are mine and mine alone.
It's lame.
Brie, you would have so many more followers if you just overnight. Like, girl, you would have hundreds of thousands of followers and make some actual money that you deserve because you have done so much for this girl and have gotten nothing in return.
First problem. Well, for one, you don't know what the fuck I've gotten in return. Like, do I know you? No. But most importantly, when you do something for someone, you're not supposed to be doing it for something in return.
So is this a confirmation that you do things for Gypsy? Because you do get something in return. You had thousands of followers and you also get to promote yourself and be on her show. And nobody knocks that. But yeah, the psychological addiction to TikTok, that clout carries more weight than money does. Gypsy herself has 9.6 million followers on TikTok. So wouldn't her friends and family? She did promote you not only on her TV show, but also on her live on TikTok twice, telling people to go follow you. It's not her fault that you lost several different TikTok accounts, but I mean, it is what it is, right?
I could be making tons of fucking money.
At one point you were when you had almost 50,000 followers. However, a lot of people don't realize that once you get an account taken, it's very hard to get that following back. I think Brie is on her 5th to 7th TikTok page and it doesn't even have 4,000 followers. It's very hard to get 1,000 people to refollow you, not once, twice, 3 times, but over a dozen times because you keep having accounts taken.
Just like she said. Just like she said. All I would have to do is exactly what she said.
But you do exactly what Gypsy wants you to do. You sit there and debunk a lot of things that she wants you to debunk and stay on her side. That is literally no different than what people say are anti-Gypsy creators or haters. It is literally the same thing, except for you guys are under the guise of don't invalidate anybody's abuse, and everybody over here is saying, well, let's not falsely allegate anybody and let's validate that abuse even happened. Because we know that a murder happened.
I don't think y'all realize how many people know me because of this.
Well, it's certainly nowhere near 50,000. It's more like not even 5,000. I'm not gonna lie, Brie is trolled like a mother though, but she is not known. People don't know her. When she went live twice with Gypsy, the comments were like, who is that? Who is that? Who is that? People that follow Gypsy's TikTok don't even realize that she's a convicted murderer. They don't even know who she is. They literally followed her because right after she got out of prison, she was in TMZ, People Magazine, and they thought she was some celebrity or something. People in the comments of Gypsy's live were not only asking who is that person sitting next to you, but there were people literally asking her questions like, what are you famous for? What's the show again? Because they genuinely had no idea who Gypsy really is.
And how many people are just waiting to see this like fall apart? Do you not even realize how much money I could make if tomorrow I woke up and I'm like, I have all this shit to say about Gypsy?
Gypsy better heed those words because she just told everybody that she literally does have a lot of shit that she could say about Gypsy. She's just insinuating that she chooses not to do that. But I genuinely fear for the day that Brie is really pushed to the edge and Gypsy really does show her true colors and she wakes up. But then again, it's really wild and crazy to be bragging about being close to a murderer. Like, girl, there's literally almost 400,000 other murderers in the United States out of 330 million American citizens. But you picked the one that had TikTok clout and some kind of infamy.
Do y'all not realize that? I am the closest person to Gypsy that people on the internet know.
Even if that were true, that is not something to brag about. And if that were true, you wouldn't need to use Gypsy's name to promote your own TikTok page. And the funniest thing out of all of this is that they're still going after another creator named Flawless Nina because she has garnered a very large following on multiple platforms speaking about Gypsy. Is that not the same thing as you guys saying that all these content creators come at Gypsy, but you're going to do it to another content creator? That's the same exact thing. You can can put lipstick, a wig, and a dress on a pig, but it's still a pig. But not only is she promoting Gypsy's YouTube, Gypsy is promoting her own YouTube channel, her family vlogging channel, which we all already know is not going over very well. But she posted this to her picture, insinuating that she is resilient and all of the horrible things that happened to her in her life is the reason why she continues to grow. If social media is toxic and damaging to you, your reputation, your mental health, anything, then choose to stay off of it. But then again, we are talking about somebody who only has a reputation for taking the life of her mother, lying about Nicholas Godejohn, and also inadvertently causing his mother to take her own life. And I know there's a really wonderful community of people on TikTok, especially mothers who have autistic sons, who have spoken out about this. It must have been so hard and so devastating for Nicholas's mother, especially on the 5-year anniversary of the crime, and to learn that her son wasn't winning his appeals and that all of these horrible things had been said about him in the media. Not everybody has the ability to use mainstream media, misuse it, abuse it, and do what Gypsy does. Not everybody has the energy, the resources, or the supports to fight back, even against defamation, slander, libel, and false allegations that didn't even happen. And the most ridiculous thing is talking about how Nicholas was arrested at a McDonald's before for having a knife in his pocket, or that he was doing something inappropriate when he was in an already year-plus long relationship with Gypsy Rose Blanchard at that point. If anybody was sending him anything inappropriate, it was probably Gypsy. And you don't get to say, oh, that person had these weird fantasies and was looking up this horrible stuff. So was Gypsy. Look at the sheriff's department list of evidences. Looking up how to make a body not decompose as fast. Looking up her mom's murder. Looking up very intimate things that are adult XXX, and even looking up BDSM and other weapons. But we know she killed her mom. It was her plan. It makes sense that she was looking into those things. But you can't say because somebody's Google search history has very damning things in it that, oh my God, they were one day going to SA somebody, or that they were going to take somebody's life. So therefore, it's okay for me to do what I did to my mom, or to do what I do to him, to lie about him, to call him names like Autistic Buttercup, a POS, Voldemort, or even calling him a psychopath. It still doesn't justify, condone, reason, and if or but away the fact that it doesn't make Gypsy look any better. In fact, it makes her look even worse by her own actions, words, choices, and behaviors.
Given the severity of this, I am going to say something. This week, Gypsy and Ken were on an app primarily used by teenagers and predators. As sick as that is to even come out of my mouth, I'm just beside myself. The app is called OMETV, formerly known as Omegle. When I asked my teenagers about this site, they said, Mom, we don't use it because it's dangerous, because there's creepy older people on there that constantly want to hook up with young kids, and it's scary for them. It is a well-known predator site. The amount of disgusting behavior that happens on OMETV is, there's just not, I couldn't even begin to tell you how much disgusting stuff happens on there. Omegle was already shut down from the disgusting behavior, so they rebranded into OMETV. 2 fingers on the shoulder. Let's just get into it. I'm going to show you guys the research that I found, and I'm going to read it to you. This says OMETV is not inherently a predator site, but it can be dangerous, especially for minors or vulnerable individuals due to the lack of strong moderation and anonymous interactions and real-time video chatting with strangers. Dangers of OMETV: exposure to schmexual content. Many users engage in inappropriate behavior or explicit content, even though it's against site rules. Minors are at risk of being exposed to, and the anonymous, random nature of this app makes it a hotspot for predators, pretending to be younger or engaging in grooming behavior. I guess really what I want you to focus on here is the fact that it says that it's a place where people feel more free to act schmexually in suggestive or aggressive ways, because there are no public profiles or real names, people often behave in ways that they wouldn't elsewhere, including propositioning others and exposing themselves. Many users go on OMETV specifically to find someone to flirt with or engage in explicit talk or behavior. OME is not marketed as a hookup app, but in practice, it often becomes one. This makes it especially dangerous for teens or vulnerable people who think it's just a place to make friends or meet casually. The statistics behind it, roughly 1 in 5 to 1 in 3 chats may involve schmexual content or suggestive behavior. A 2021 study on similar video chat apps showed 30% of interactions included some form of schmexual content, even when users didn't ask. Many users report being hit on aggressively or asked to do schmexual things on camera, even during their first few chats. Bottom line, while OMETV can be used innocently, a significant portion of its traffic is inappropriate, schmexual, or predatory. That makes it unsafe for minors. Now let's move on to the really weird hand signal that Ken was doing in his live with the young teenagers, which was this. Okay? I want you to keep in mind that Ken's profile says he's from Dallas, so he's had OMETV for quite some time to engage with random people. Random teenagers, seen as that's pretty much who runs the app. 2 fingers on shoulder. Consent, signal to participate. In some communities on OMETV or TikTok, this gesture is used to signal that a person is willing to engage in something, often schmexual or flirty in nature. So when Ken did this, it meant that he was signaling to that community, hey, do I have your consent? Is this right? Anyway, it's sometimes seen as an often soft yes in a coded, nonverbal way. Unfortunately, it's sometimes part of grooming and predator culture, used as a nonverbal test to see if someone knows the code and will reciprocate. If teens or kids are in OMTV and using or responding to this gesture, they may be unknowingly participating in adult-coded behavior, which predators or inappropriate users exploit. He's been on this app for years. He knows what it means. He knows what he's doing. I want you guys to think back to this. In the court documents, we know that Gypsy was into very strange, very bizarre, dark web, some BDSM, just very sick, dark, schmexual stuff. That didn't end because she was also strange like that in prison. Her friends were the P3DOs, and Skip said, because I wasn't there when she first got there, that she behaved so strangely that she had to run around and give her paperwork to people proving that she was not a P3DO because she associated with and hung out with P3DOs. She talked to a ridiculous amount of men schmexually. The microdeletion specifically says that it gives her an increased obsession with schmexualness. Basically, I don't know how else to word it. And Ken, who has already been busted out on Tinder, is that the name of it? Whatever. Engaging with men, okay? They both, which it should not shock anybody that they would be into and swinging, and thought that this was a place they could go where no one would recognize them, and they could meet up and fulfill some schmexual fantasies. I think it's disgusting. I think that the fact that they're trying to move on into this family vlogging thing while also participating in some very disgusting behavior is beyond. And let's be honest now, come on, let's rewind. Do I need to show you the picture of Ruby? Do I need to show you the picture of all her different Demona, all these characters with wigs and licking knives and all the weird, strange, crazy stuff that she was into? You think that just went away? She's had intensive therapy to get, you think that can be treated? The sociopath, the psychopath, weird stuff? Because I don't. I think that it's buried and now it's starting to come out. And she's found someone who is also just as freaking weird. So, in my own opinion, the court documents are correct. when she said that she came up with the idea to give her daughter Aurora, because she named their baby the same name that she was going to name her and Nicholas Godejohn's baby. When she said that she would offer her baby up to Nicholas Godejohn on her 13th birthday. It's sick. It was her doing that. It was her that taught him BDSM. It was her that pulled him into all that. It was her sick fantasies that she got from watching all this Cosmicon, just all this craziness. It was her. I'm sorry. She's a predator. So is Ken.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing about it because let me tell you why. First of all, that is not an app for children.
Technically, no app or website is made for kids unless it explicitly has kids in the name. But there is a reason why it was shut down before and why they rebranded it as a different app, just like TikTok, just like Facebook, just like Messenger. Teenagers, even if they're being monitored by their parents, by their school, they still have ways of being sneaky and getting around things like this. All people can do is monitor their children and really be diligent and talk to them. But yes, TV literally has age restrictions, but the problem is that there is no way for parents to be able to monitor them. And not only that, but it doesn't have an effective verification process like most apps don't. They're starting to catch on to that by having to show your ID, and it take up to 2 days for them to verify that you are who you say you are. You have to take photographs and pictures. You have to do that with YouTube and Google now. But AI and face recognition technology is largely in its infancy right now. And that doesn't mean that there isn't ways to skirt or loophole around that, especially for very smart, intelligent kids who want to utilize an app that they're not supposed to be on. That's why they are minor children by law, because their prefrontal cortex and frontal lobe don't start developing until they're in their mid-teens and doesn't stop until you're almost 40.
If your child is on that app, that's you are the problem because you shouldn't be allowing your child on that app. That's just for one.
That is absolutely true to a certain degree, but coming from somebody who doesn't have children and is not a mother, if there is a will, there is a way. It was the same thing back in the 80s and 90s. People used to steal money out of their parents' wallets or things out of their safe or steal their cigarettes or steal their alcohol and replace it with water. Steal their weed. We would make prank phone calls. We would do all kinds of crazy stuff. Send subscriptions in people's names that didn't even exist so they get a bill for it. Kids do things, especially when they are in groups with their peers, their friends, their cousins. And today, in the modern day, kids are just so different because they have all of this technology and the World Wide Web right at their fingertips. Unlike back in 1996, in order for me to get on AOL, I'm doing it in my living room right in front of my parents, while also having to use dial-up and shut down the entire phone of our house. Kids today are exposed to things that literally corrupt their entire phone, that sync with their contacts, sync with their phone number. Give data permissions and permissions to their microphone, their search history, their Google history, and their camera. But that's like saying a little girl asked for it because look at what she's wearing. It legally is the adult's responsibility to not engage with children. It's the adult's responsibility to act appropriately, meaning not talking to, video chatting, or signaling to underage minors for any reason at all.
For two, there are actual predators on that app.
There are predators on your street. There are predators in every county of every state in the United States. There are predators online, yes. And how predators and offenders get away with it is that they are your neighbors next door. They're your uncle. They're your second cousin twice removed. They look like normal everyday people. They're charming. They're charismatic. They're socially awkward or isolated. A predator and offender can be anybody. And yeah, people go online. Predators and offenders are not like this big bad boogeyman that you're going to recognize right when you see them. What makes them so dangerous and able to offend so long before ever getting caught is the fact that they are Caucasian, that they are female, that they have a squeaky voice, that they're only 4'11" and 129 pounds, that they are infamous for something bad like murder, or that they have a TV show and they're on TV, that they have almost 700,000 people following them on one platform and almost 10 million on another. So a predator and offender can be literally anybody, including Gypsy and or Ken himself. The irony is that a lot of offenders and predators are so charismatic. They are charming. They are in Hollywood, or they are famous. They are big content creators. We certainly know that people that are successful, that are famous, that are in Hollywood, they largely are narcissistic and sociopathic or predatory because it attracts that type of person. Fame and money attract that type of person. Attention attracts that kind of person. Just look at how many scandals there have been with people in Hollywood or very famous online or TikTok content creators. And it's not just Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, or Harvey Weinstein. Look at all of the other people that have been predators. And it's not just males. I mean, look at James Charles. Look at Jeffree Star. Look at Eugenia Cooney. Look at Stephanie Jenkins with The Resilient Jenkins. Ash Trevino, among many others. All of those people showed predatory behavior and are in their 30s plus and have talked to minors or have hit on minors or have done very explicit things with minors and or exploited minors, even their own children. Exploiting your own child is predatory, and it certainly is offensive. And we don't even have to name names like Woody Allen.
And there are people spending hours on lives, making videos, talking about Ken and Gypsy.
I don't know exactly who she's referring to or who she's insinuating here, but yeah, people do work hard at their content, their videos. I don't go live, so I don't understand that whole thing with live, but Brie herself has been known to sit on lives for over 17 hours. And yeah, it's work, but people are within their legal rights to express their thoughts, opinions, their views, their emotions, and speak about people or things that are in the public sphere, that are in the public domain, that are third-party licensed or underneath fair use. That's what public figures open themselves up to when they decide to become a public figure and stay a public figure. And that's not social media, that's just media in general, mainstream media. Social media is a different realm. Public figures and celebrities utilize social media to market, advertise, and promote things, while people that are considered infamous or famous are on there trying to stay relevant. We have a lot of people that are trying to make it as a content creator and make money off of things, but it's not sustainable as an income. That is, if you're even monetized to begin with, because most people are not. And then we see millions of users who just like to consume content and people who are psychologically addicted to social media. That's why you'll notice that some of these people really favor only one app or website over others. That's why there are rehabs for social media addiction and why there are so many class action lawsuits ranging from several billion to almost $1 trillion in the United States alone. And let's not even talk about video games and gaming, because we certainly know that Ken is a gamer. He likes to do that in his downtime. A lot of predators use online gaming systems as a way to interact with minors as well. You see, when Ken is setting up his new house in season 2 of Life After Lockup, the first thing he does is set up his TV and his gaming consoles. It's giving Drew Jenkins from Resilient Jenkins.
Using that app without any proof that they did anything wrong, instead of spending their time, well, if that's what you are so passionate about, how about you go and find the real predators on that app?
Oh, look, we found them. Miss Gypsy Rose Alcida Blanchard herself and her baby daddy, Ken Urker. And that is the conclusion everybody has come to because of their video and everybody having shared this video and seeing that they have communicated with minor children. But it's the parents' fault. And it's easy to say monitor your teenagers, but that's just like saying, well, that little girl that's only 10 years old shouldn't be wearing that dress. She shouldn't be taunting and flaunting her stuff in front of grown men. It's the middle-aged, almost 40-year-old people that really have the responsibility to not engage, not utilize social media that has all of these horrible, horrible community standards and guidelines and no age restrictions or verifications to begin with. It's their responsibility to not engage.
No, because this is such a good point, and we don't talk about it enough, how weird it is that there are literal people who want to write and talk to people in prison for things like what Gypsy did. It is so bizarre, and it's a thing. People do it all the time. It's just that is mind-blowing to think about, that's why he reached out to her, you know what I mean? And it reminded me of this mugshot of Ken. He was arrested, I believe, in 2014 for driving on a suspended license. And obviously not near as big as what Gypsy did, but this mugshot is sinister. And it will give me nightmares if I look at it too long. I don't know. There's definitely something off about someone to want to reach out to someone in prison for crazy things like what Gypsy did. And Ryan is in the same boat. He is not off the hook here. It's freaking weird that people do this. And then the rest of the world acts like it's normal. It's not.
Oh, and people that are saying it's Omni or, no, Omegle. No, it's not. It's similar, but it's not the same thing. Omni TV and Omegle is two different things. Omegle was shut down like 2 years ago.
Proving everybody's point exactly. It was shut down.
Anyways, so yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. And I am making a video about it because there's also this thing where Ken's doing this. Y'all, that is a lie. That person case studies. What he's saying about the two-finger thing meaning you're looking for a third. First of all, if Ken and Gypsy were looking for a third, that would be their motherfucking business.
They open it up to everybody else's business while they're doing it on an app, a social media app. Social. The word social apparently eludes everybody. That is the opposite of private. But if that's what floats their boat and that's their kink, hey, nobody is downing that. But minors, talking to minors on social media apps, period. And that's always been a problem because since Gypsy got out, most of her followers on TikTok are younger people that are probably not even old enough to be on the app with parental consent. And that starts at the age of 13.
But that's not what they were doing, because that's not what that means. That there's nothing anywhere on the internet that says it means that.
Yet Nadatha Walker proved just that. So did Ash 2 Trippy. Just because you didn't find it on the internet doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because you used Google doesn't mean it's not on the internet. There is literally trillions and trillions and trillions of things on the internet. One person cannot find everything and say that indefinitely. You can pretty much find anything you want to find on the internet. But signals, hand signals, and emojis have been used since the 90s, the birth of the internet, from predators, from traffickers, solicitors. Hello. Does nobody remember the entire Backpage thing? Yeah, that was nothing but emojis and hand signals. A lot of the trafficked girls did an entire documentary about that years ago, talking about what the different hand signals and emojis mean and how they were trafficked on that website.
So I don't know what he means by other people have verified. No, y'all, when I say I searched high and low for like over an hour, unless this is some shit on the Arc-Day web,
I thought you didn't know what the dark and deep web was. Well, Nadatha shows otherwise right here.
There's no such thing as a symbol like this that means that. Y'all are weird. If you're so passionate about this, go find real predators that are on that app, okay? Or on any app, because any social media platform is, especially where they hold lives or where you can message people. There's a chance that your child could be approached by a stranger, which is why you should be monitoring your children's devices if your child is a minor.
Yeah, that is true to a certain extent. But today with teenagers, with the modern age, with technology, with cell phones and all these other devices, it's easier said than done, especially coming from somebody who's very judgmental about other people's parenting when they're not even a parent themselves and they're not a mother and they don't have experience with raising teenagers in the modern age. It again goes back to how all of these apps and websites have an obligation to keep criminals, murderers off their platforms. And that day and that federal legislation will come soon enough. But yet at the same time, Gypsy is driving around unbuckled in the backseat of a moving Jeep with her child not even anchored in appropriately with the bar up and with her not even being buckled in her car seat appropriately. So by this logic, everybody else should just be watching their children and monitoring their devices. But yet Gypsy is over here literally making an entire family vlogging channel exploiting her baby. 7 Several content creators on YouTube and TikTok have shown the analytics and how Gypsy gets over 300% more views, clicks, and monetary gifts live if Aurora is in the frame or nearby versus when it's just Gypsy or Ken. And people can say they love their child and really show that to friends and family and still exploit them. That's why so many people are intrigued by Gypsy's behavior, words, choices, because a lot of the things that she says not only don't correlate with what she said before, but it also doesn't align with her actions.
To say someone is a P3DO just because they went on that app is weird. That's like you calling everyone on that app who's not below the age of 17, even though the app is for 17 and older. It's like calling all of those people P3DOs. It's weird and it's not productive when there are actual P3DOs and predators on that app that you could be chasing down if that's what you're passionate about.
I think that's what a lot of people have been doing. I mean, a lot of content creators, as I've shown, have shown that they found her. Not only was she engaging with minors right there on video with Ken, but she has a history of corresponding with chomos. And we all know that's true because here's all her letters to Nicholas Blackman. And if you don't know about Nicholas Blackman, a lot of people have done videos in regards to him, in regards to who Gypsy was talking to. A lot of people that were incarcerated with her, like Skip, or even Rachel Garlick, or how about even Nadatha Walker. So it's a lot of people's opinions that they have found the predator and they're going to keep outing her own behavior, because in the video you clearly see Ken and Gypsy engaging with a video chat to minors, one of which was laying on a bed. Right, wrong, moral, immoral, that's up to viewers to decide for themselves what they think.
Okay, thank you. What is this?
Just more bullshit. That's what this is.
But yeah, I don't know why. I just think it's really strange. I think it's really strange, especially when there are grown adults with children in their house who are not even caring about their children as they spend all day online talking about calling CPS on Gypsy for her and Ken being on that app.
Whoever is doing that, yeah, absolutely do not call the authorities or CPS or somebody's parole officer for absolutely no reason. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody did contact them, though, for child endangerment. Although I'm not saying anybody should ever do that. There should be a legitimate reason or concern for abuse or neglect of an adult or a child to contact Adult Protective Services or Child Protective Services or somebody's parole officer. And Gypsy would have to be committing an actual crime, something that is certainly a violation for somebody to report. Ethical and moral complaints, yeah, some people have those. And if they call, I mean, that's their prerogative, especially mandated reporters. But that is being twisted with them being on an app. They shouldn't be on an app talking to other people's children, whether they're being monitored by their parents or not.
Make it make sense. How about you go watch your own kids, worry about your kid, okay? And make sure your other kids that are maybe a little bit older aren't on that app if you're so scared of it. Stop accusing people without any type of proof. That's dangerous, for one. For two, it's strange, it's weird, and it's giving obsessed.
What's strange and weird is literally taking the life of your mom and then trying to put all the blame on somebody else, becoming infamous for it, and then turning around and monetizing a fake story that never even happened.
I feel so bad for Ken and Gypsy for even having to have those accusations thrown at them without any type of proof.
But Ash2Trippy shows the proof, and she is not the only one. Hundreds of people have shared the video in its entirety on TikTok and YouTube. What's giving obsessed is staying on social media, even though she says that the haters are dimming her light, that social media is bad to her mental health and to her emotionally, then stop utilizing it. Get off of it then. Put the phone away. Nobody makes anybody open their phone and click on an app and start looking at everything about themselves. What's giving obsessed is Gypsy's inability to let it go and get off of it if it's that bad for her. But nothing is going to be as bad for her as her crime. What she did, taking the life of her own mother and then turning around and lying about Nicholas Godejohn, lying about the crime, lying about everything. everything, being caught in those lies, and then trying to say, oh, well, I'm contractually obligated to post on my social media. Don't sign the contracts. Nobody made you sign a contract. Who is really looking out for Gypsy? That's my real question, because who would put her physical, mental, emotional well-being at risk just for the sake of being on social media? Who are the people that are making her utilize social media, right? It's giving obsessed because she can't put it down and let it go. Or she can't stop the clapbacks and she can't stop trying to control what people think of her. But she is guilty. She is a convicted murderer, and that's all she's known for.
So yeah, I don't react to these kind of videos anymore because I just get harassed when I do. But this one, I had to react to. First, let's state the fact. Gypsy is one of my best friends.
Bree is a friend of Christy's. They met on TikTok. She often just kind of debunks rumors about me and my family. Eventually, Bree and I had a phone call. I think it was like February of this year. We clicked really well. And so ever since then, you know, we've been buddies. For me, especially, like, making friends is extremely hard.
Well, tell her not to stay up all night on her lives.
Meet people my own age to kind of form friendships naturally. For me, especially, like, making friends is extremely hard. I'm 33 years old.
And that's sad that a murderer is your best friend and you're not hers.
So, that being said, my opinion, whether y'all like it or not, carries much more weight than the opinions of random strangers on the internet who y'all choose to listen to.
Sometimes hindsight is 20/20 and people are blinded by what they want to see in somebody and what is not actually there. I'm sure I speak for a lot of us when I say that Bree seems like a really beautiful, intelligent, very devout friend, but it comes at the price of everybody else and every other friendship. So she can hang on to this one person that has actual followers on TikTok and clout. But morally, that will go nowhere because she's a convicted murderer. And it's the way that she lies and uses Bree that everybody else is seeing that she clearly isn't seeing. So it's not about her opinion and whose opinion carries more weight. It's about who's really seeing the truth and seeing it crystal clear. At a certain point, though, everybody has to accept that, yeah, this is a grown, middle-aged woman who makes her own choices and makes her own friends, as is everybody's right to do. But for everybody else, all of those amazing, beautiful attributes go out the window when you are becoming a worst version of yourself by being associated with a murderer and doing things like this to harm others. For her, by proxy. Of course, somebody doesn't want to see that that's the truth, but that is the truth.
Why did you have Bree post instead of you posting?
I personally, I couldn't do it myself. Felt like if I posted it myself, that he would have received a message that I'm trying to hurt him, and that's not what I was trying to do.
What's the message?
The message is that I in no way want to prevent the healing process, but I do not want to be with him either. And that's definite.
Talked you into killing your mother.
I did. I talked him into it.
Why didn't you kill your mother?
I didn't believe I could do it.
Could you explain what you mean by that?
I don't like blood. I don't like the sight of blood. Frankly, I'm too squeamish, so I just honestly didn't believe I could do it on my own.
Y'all don't want this girl to have any joy in her life. Y'all don't want her to be good at anything. Y'all don't want her to succeed at anything. Y'all don't want her to find meaning and purpose. Y'all don't even want her to be a good mom.
That may be true for some people, but I know that's not true for a lot. A lot of people have given her chance after chance after chance to prove that she has reformed, that she has rehabilitated. Going to the San Francisco State University to talk about prison reform is really ironic, considering that Gypsy got the best of prison reform. She committed first-degree premeditated murder and got slapped on the wrist with a sweetheart plea deal of only 10 years for second degree. That is why she took it. And people do care. People do care. That's why people that don't even like her and content creators literally have tried tried to give her advice, tried to guide her, tried to give her some parenting tips that might be helpful, have even defended her when she was in the wrong and tried to steer her in a better direction. But it's all for herself and it's all for money. It's all for attention and it's all just this clusterfuck of a mess. Social media is so toxic because of her presence. I have watched people lie about being abused to grift off of her story. I have seen people become the worst versions of themselves by being associated with Gypsy. And it's not that people want her to be a bad mother. It's that she's showing she is with her own actions, words, choices, and behaviors, all for the sake of making content.
Okay, everybody, hear me out. Since this is all over TikTok, Gypsy Rose Blanchard made a new YouTube channel for family vlogging 2 days ago. She's bragging about how she has a goal of getting 15,000 subscribers in less than 48 hours and how she's almost made that goal. She does all recycled videos from over a year ago and since. She posts a very short, not even 40-second video about taking her daughter, her baby, to go see the Easter Bunny. Ken is driving, clearly his vehicle, and she's in the back seat with Aurora. But you notice that strap right there? It's not even over Aurora's shoulder the way that it's supposed to be. Plus, the car seat is not anchored in the way that it's supposed to be. Also, you see that little bar for flipping up to carry the baby or to transport it in and out or to put it on top of the stroller. That's technically not supposed to be up while you're actually driving in a moving vehicle. And Ken was driving. This was a moving vehicle. While the baby is not safely strapped in, the seat not safely strapped and anchored into the car, and that bar is flipped up. At this point, it's very much giving Eugenia Cooney. Why do you keep coming back to social media, the internet, knowing that you are only known for something bad? You are only ever going to be known for something bad. And you keep coming back to it, even though you say it's toxic and there's all these haters, yet people have given her chance and chance and chance and chance to prove that she's rehabilitated, that she's reformed, that she's remorseful, that she is actually going to take accountability and use her platform for positive stories of other people or positive advocacy for other people. But instead, she's using it for selfish reasons, for monetary gain for herself. And people have seen that, and it just doesn't sit okay with people. The sense of entitlement to any kind of following, let alone 15,000 subscribers in less than 2 days. Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Who the fuck do you think you are? You're a nobody just like the rest of us nobodies. But you know what the difference is? You're a nobody who actually took somebody's life. You slander, defame, and libel somebody else every goddamn chance you get, and you caused his mother to take her own life. But besides all that, you're sitting there on episode 10 of season 2 of Lifetime's TV reality show they gave you, Life After Lockup, talking about SIDS. Like you're paving the way in case something was to happen to your daughter. Absolutely atrocious. And then we're seeing you not even strapping this baby in, who's going to be, 5 months old? Not even strapping her in appropriately in a moving vehicle. Ken is in the front seat of this video driving, actively driving, but that's not all. Look at the amount of dog hair from Parker that is all over these seats. Now, you don't have to be necessarily allergic to pet dander, dogs or cats, to have just regular seasonal allergies from that. You definitely should be trying to limit how much dog and cat hair is around your baby, especially while she's developing her immune system in the first couple years of life. But that's not even the best part. The best part is this. Gypsy Rose Blanchard just got herself a driver's license at the ripe old age of 34 in the state of Louisiana. The best part is that she's in the back seat and she is unbuckled herself in a moving vehicle. Yeah, she's more worried about doing like this with her cleavage and to show all this cleavage and to do all this with her straps and to, all of that. Doesn't even realize that she's breaking all traffic law by not being buckled in a moving vehicle. And yes, Louisiana has a law that all occupants of all vehicles must wear a seatbelt. You are required to always wear a seatbelt when a vehicle is in motion. If somebody was to send that to her PO or send that to the Louisiana state authorities or her local authorities, they can give her a ticket for that. In fact, there's a lot of states where you actually will be arrested if you get caught not wearing a seatbelt in a moving vehicle. No matter if you're the driver, the passenger, what have you. But this is especially concerning because this is a baby. She's already got a really shitty start to life having a convicted murderer for a mom. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. Even Octomom was a better mom, and she's a POS and a liar herself. She lied to doctors. She lied to fertility doctors. She lied about the IVF. She lied to her parents. She lied to society. She lied to the public. She lied to registered nurses. She lied to all of her friends. She even lied to her donors. She lied to media, mainstream media, social media. Now she's just lying on a new documentary because she wanted to have more children. Still to this day, even has a whole entire new documentary called Confessions of Octomom. And what does she confess? Absolutely zero, nothing. You're left with more questions than you get answers from over 16 years ago. Like, what? Even Octomom knew how to strap 14 little kids in a car the proper way. Gypsy Rose always has moved through life and has operated with that entitlement. Like, I can just do whatever the fuck I want. Not only can I do whatever the fuck I want, I am going to do whatever the fuck I want. And then she knows Mike Stanfield is her buffer between her and her parole officer. And that it's always going to be like, nope, it was just trolls that were hating. Nah. CPS ain't going to do nothing. Law enforcement ain't going to do nothing. But you know what? This right here, you put this on a YouTube channel. You put this out because you are so desperate for attention. And we see that in sociopaths and narcissists and psychopaths. So desperate to control the narrative. If you are who you say you are, you don't need to control anything. You're not always going to clap back at everything. You're not always going to try to paint everybody else like they're the problem. Your mom, Nick's mom, Ryan. Oh, it's content creators, it's haters, it's everybody but her. Out of 8 billion people on planet Earth, 330 million American citizens, out of 195 countries across 7 continents. And these people want to cling to the one mother effer that they think has TikTok clout. The one mother effer who literally committed the worst crime a human can commit against another human being. Yeah, even above SA. Because when you take somebody's life, you can't fix that. You can't bring that back. You're not alive anymore. And then she uses mainstream media to do nothing but to continuously run that false narrative and victim narrative and always paint herself as a victim and not the 34-year-old grown woman that she is. And she is responsible for this little life. And it is so sad that her start to life is already having a convicted murderer for a mom. And then having cameras shoved all in her face, all in her private space, all in her home, which is supposed to be her sanctuary. It's supposed to be sacred. It's supposed to be her private space, not invaded on ever. Whether or not she's on the camera view or not, the fact that the cameras are even near her home, near a vehicle that she's in, near where she is walking. She's already growing up and has spent the first 5 months of her life literally being Gypsy's ticket to look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Yeah, you're a mom for no other reason than you committed adultery and you had unprotected sex with somebody. That's it. It's not fate. It's not destiny. It's an action that you took. And failed to do what you know how to do because you took a plan B with Ryan, you certainly could have done it with Ken too. You knew exactly what you were doing. Everybody knows you know exactly what you were doing. You know what you're doing now. But you're so focused on what you think you look like to other people that you are ignoring that baby's safety. You are ignoring everything else. Because you want to put up a video where you think you look cute, where you think your titties is hanging out, where you think you look all whatever for this channel, and you're going to put it on there, and that you completely overlooked the obvious, that the baby is not even strapped in, not even anchored in, doesn't even have that bar laying back. Nothing. This is how a child should be buckled, in a rear-facing car seat.
Like, how crazy is this? I witnessed the hate on social media slowly begin to dim the light inside of Gypsy.
8 billion people across 195 countries in 7 continents on planet Earth. It's not anybody's job to keep the light alive in Gypsy's eyes. With literally 60% of the world's population living in extreme poverty or poverty, the light or the flame in Gypsy's eyes and soul is none of anybody's concern, because she's a 34-year-old woman who chooses to be on the internet. That is her choice, and she can also choose to get off and stay off the internet. Nobody made her open up her phone and click on all these apps and log into an account to go watch all this horrible stuff about herself. Doing that is also an adult choice that she makes daily.
And she has accidentally ratted Gypsy out. Have a listen.
Secret plans. Gypsy Rose says she's broke. And Gypsy never said she was broke.
Really, I really wish I could, but, I technically only have like $50 in my account. My diapers, wipes, clothes.
A lot of people don't realize you're not rich.
No, not in the least. And so I'm like, I'm here, $50 in my account, being like, oh my God, am I going to have to, ask my dad for money this month or something?
But then at the beginning here, listen to Brie again.
Secret plans. Gypsy Rose says she's broke. And Gypsy never said she was broke.
So
Gypsy never said that she was broke.
They're mad at me, but I don't care. I'm always going to protect Gypsy. She can keep showing me. I don't care. Because this is the closest you're going to get to Gypsy, so. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Brie. I am the girl on the left in the first clip, and I am the one in the second clip who is preventing a very ignorant person from getting into Gypsy's book signing. I'm one of Gypsy's besties, the one that everyone loves to hate and be weirdly obsessed with.
Brie is a friend of Christy's. They met on TikTok. She often just kind of debunks rumors about me and my family. Eventually, Brie and I had a phone call, I think it was like February of this year. We clicked really well. And so ever since then, we've been buddies. For me, especially, making friends is extremely hard.
Well, tell her not to stay up all night on her lives.
Meet people my own age to kind of form friendships naturally. For me, especially, making friends is extremely hard. I'm 33 years old.
Again, she is a murderer using her stepmom's friend.
That was so bad for last time. Gypsy.
Hello. Big.
How you feeling?
Big.
Body shaming her right to her face on national TV.
There's going to be things in the future that come out where I'm just kind of I've gotten frustrated with him and I've let that anger out. It's about what the public might think, the public persona. And I think what gets to me, and I vented this to your mom, is that you have your TikTok personality and then you have the real Ryan Anderson. And those two are two completely different people. So when I see you on TikTok, acting the way you do, talking the way you do, doing your polls, that's not the man that I married. The man that I married went on Facebook once a month because I asked him to. You didn't do social media, you didn't care. It was never about the public back then. And it's so hard to see what you have become. So yeah, I get mad, I get frustrated, I get angry because I know that that's not you. Where's the person sprinkled? Throughout the entire filming process, kind of understand, Ken is not used to being filmed. The difference between Ken and Ryan, I mean, there's a lot of differences, but Ryan welcomes, I think, the cameras and adapted a lot easier than Ken did. So I think when we first started filming this season, Ken was still very closed off. He was still very kind of like, keep everything private. You don't really show affection unless it's like behind closed doors type of thing. He was just not very open. Like Ryan was mushy 24/7. Ken is not like that, but Ken is like that behind closed doors. So on the show, I think that I often would call him out on being overly guarded. And what I mean by that is just kind of like, he doesn't show his goofy side. He doesn't show his funny, quirky side that he only shows to me and like close friends and family. He doesn't do that on camera, but he's not like that in real life, if that makes sense.
Okay, this is a PSA for y'all out there who make videos about me. If you're gonna repeat something that I said, make sure you say it correctly.
I mean, well, okay, I guess Brie, but be careful what it is you wish for.
I don't believe in Assad. I believe in the truth. Why, when Gypsy finally said she was all in, why did Nick say, I knew you can do it, I'm proud of you? Why did he say that?
I'll slow this slightly so that you can read, but feel free to pause if needed. The first text exchange between Nick and Gypsy will prove what exactly it was that he was so proud of Gypsy for doing.
Why, when Gypsy finally said she was all in, why did Nick say, I knew you can do it, I'm proud of you? Why did he say that?
And then the second text exchange is going to be how Nick really reacted when she made that statement. And trust me, you're definitely going to want to pay close attention to Gypsy's reaction to Nick's mundane response. It's quite interesting, honestly, because until I went to look for the messages, I really had no idea how he responded to that. And so I guess I have you to thank for that, Brie.
It should be that the truth matters. He also was, there's a lot. Just watch the video when it comes out. Or you probably won't. Instead, y'all believe whatever you've been told. But y'all gonna learn when when my documentary, no, just kidding, it's not a documentary. If you want to call it that, you can. I'm telling you, one thing y'all don't want to do is challenge me.
Oh, wow, interesting you should say that, Brie, because that's exactly what I plan to do. Challenge everything you put out in that video. So let's see it.
You know, Brie, it wasn't even about you. It was really all about Gyp, but you keep wanting the spotlight on you. Something you have in common with your best friends. Anyways, so Brie and her little corny squad over there went on live and said, it was a joke. Oh, we got yous. We got yous. No, you got yourselves to look like even bigger fools. Not only did you fake your arrest this year, but you now faked doxing. You faked doxing? For what? Was that supposed to be like an intimidation tactic? Because every single person said that they'd be waiting outside their house. No one's scared of your big ass. Nobody. So, what about that was funny? I mean, at this point, you're 30 years old, like 30-something. Are you gonna fake your own unaliving next? Because, like, what else is left? Anyways, you thought you did something, but you ended up making Gypsy's crew look even more ridiculous. that a murderer's best friend would pretend to threaten people online as a joke. Girl, we barely have to make content at this point because you're bringing your own friend down. Y'all look like a bunch of fools. No, it's just sad. It's just sad that you are 30-something years old and you do these catty, childish things, but you're so mature. You're so mature, and we're just so ridiculous. Grow the fuck up. And that's coming from a woman with a puppet. Grow the fuck up. Maybe get a job. Because last time I checked, you don't have a job. So, looks like you're the one that's panini pressed. Keep making content. As long as it's real.
Hey guys, it's me, Ryan. Of course, I always say that in every video, so I can't help it, guys. But anyway, now that the second season is finished airing, there's some things I need to speak on regarding the second season. I am a type of person that has to process things, and I want to make sure I say things the right way. And, you know, I've just been thinking a lot about everything that's happened, and a lot has happened here recently too. And I will speak on them. Please join me. I'm going to do a TikTok live on Thursday night at 8 p.m. I have plenty of things to discuss, plenty of things I need to answer for and explain. But first and foremost, thank you for all the support that I've gotten. I can't tell people enough how much I appreciate y'all being Team Ryan. I can't thank y'all enough. And gosh, there's been so much that has happened that I need to address. So please join me on Thursday night at 8 p.m. I will do a TikTok live, and there's a lot to discuss. So, guys, I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all then. And y'all have a good night, and y'all take it easy. Bye, guys.
Gypsy Rose is about to lose her and I'm here for it. Puppy Love writes, today is Wednesday the 28th. Is it tomorrow, Thursday the 29th? It is tomorrow at 8 p.m. Ryan Anderson will be going live. He said he's going to address everything and spill the tea. My last video, I used a screenshot where somebody had the wrong information. So it is tomorrow at 8 p.m. Ryan Anderson's page, and that is Central Time. I guarantee you GRB is going to post some type of distraction, or she will go live herself. You know she's sweating it. Will Ryan deliver? I don't know. I don't know. But I think at the very least, he will give us droplets. Girl, and that's good enough for me right now.
And I say, you should be scared of me. I'll eat your face like om nom 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 nom.
She may have been an innocent baby at one point, but she's not today. She's a 34-year-old murderer.
They had done some tests and found out she had a chromosome disorder that was causing all of her functions from developing, her digestive system and her muscle.
But so by the current criteria of Munchausen's, also now called factitious disorder, Gypsy Rose actually doesn't meet criteria. And the reason she doesn't meet criteria is because the external rewards that they're receiving are so obvious and so blatant.
You not gonna dance? A little bit? Ooh, look at that! Very pretty. How old are you? You're 1? I love you! He wants to get out. Ain't gonna happen.
Girl.
So where are you going today?
I'm going to Children's Mercy Hospital to see my dentist for my teeth. She said, one day this will be real. And now it finally is. Right now, I'm in Cinderella's castle eating some royal mashed potatoes.
Close to your face. Ooh, give me that big smile now so I can see just your face.
When Gypsy was around 4, 5, 6, Dee Dee started telling me there's.
Oh, her and E.T.
Slip and fall.
Nobody has trolled Bree or Gypsy more than their own friends, including internet sweetheart.
Video right now, but I have to be honest, I have to get this off my chest. Last night, I get a message on this app, okay? I'm not gonna say what app it is, just, it's a special app. It's the Boys Club. I get this message from this guy named Scott. He's talking about, what's up, bro? So I message him back and I'm like, face pic, please. And he sends me this photo. So I'm like, okay, I don't know why he took the photo from that angle or why he cropped it like that or whatever, but he's cute. Like, right off the jump, I'm looking at him and I'm like, yeah, he doesn't really look like he could afford this. So I told him straight up, right out the gate, Scott, I'm gonna warn you, I'm very pricey, high maintenance. So he responds, I can afford it. Wife is out at a book signing. Come through. Okay, this was last night. Okay, so I show up at the house, right? And, he's cool. Like, we get to talking. He spent a couple bands on me. And then, after we had hooked up, so I'm looking around the house, right? I go to the restroom. Okay, I'm urinating. I look up right above the toilet. I'm thinking, why is there a photo right above the toilet? Well, it's a picture of him and a woman. Okay, and then, it clicks in my head. Okay, this is his wife. I look at her. I'm like, why does she look so familiar? And I realize that is Bree with the facts. Friends. Like, I'm like, hold on. You said she's out at the book signing. Are you talking about Gypsy's book signing? Okay, so at this point, he gets very uncomfortable. And he's like, don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it. Here, I'm gonna give you some money. I'm like, okay, he's gonna give me some money, then I'm not gonna say anything about this to Bree. Because, money talks. He hands me a check. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not really what I was expecting. He's like, oh, no, it's good, bro. It's good. It's good. So I look at the check. $1,000. Would you believe I took that bid to Amscott? I pulled up at Amscott thinking I was about to have a payday. And, it bounced. It bounced like a motherfucking trampoline. I am so disappointed in Bree with the facts. And, Gypsy's PR team really needs to do something about this because this is not a good look for them. This is not a good look for Bree. This is not a good... So I'm making this video to warn other people. And if you get messaged by a guy named Scott Nicolini, just know he will sell you all types of lies except try to give you a fantasy of what's going to happen, and that's not what's going to occur.
Yes, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is trolled. A lot of her family and friends are trolled. People have caught her shopping. People that are local have caught her and Ken taking baby Aurora to the mall to see the Easter Bunny, but nobody trolls her as much as Melissa G. Moore.
Thank you for watching Happy Face and getting a lot of questions from friends saying what's true, what's fictionalized. So if you have those questions too, pose them here and I'd be happy to answer them.
I see your new boots. Holy smoke. Isn't that new boots? Isn't that nice? These are called moon boots.
I had a happy childhood, a really good childhood.
Ride a motorcycle?
Melissa G. Moore has helped make Gypsy the infamous public figure that she thinks she is today. But a lot of people don't realize is that Melissa G. Moore has been trying to break out as a really big Hollywood executive producer for many, many years. She's seen Gypsy's story, started communicating with her, and started curating a relationship. She, along with Mike Stanfield, together are the ones who brokered all of these book deals, TV shows, interviews, podcasts, etc., for Gypsy Rose Blanchard. But they, of course, take a cut of the money. That's what managers and producers and executive producers do. But the attention that the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case has gotten has also afforded Melissa G. Moore a lot as well.
I had her mom killed so she could finally live the life that she wanted.
Tragic event surrounded by mystery and public deception.
I wanted more independence.
Gypsy felt like this was the only way out.
Hi, honey. I'm feeling it. He's eating a brownie.
And the D is...
Melissa G. Moore has not only been on Dr. Phil, she's been on the Dr. Oz show. She worked as an executive producer or producer. She's been a ghostwriter. She's also been an advocate for certain victims of heinous crimes, which is so ironic that she would literally help Mike Stanfield and Gypsy Rose push out a defense strategy that didn't even happen. It's called a defense strategy for a reason. But I have done videos about the Gypsy Rose agenda, where I highlight from the moment she was arrested and her crime. But 5 days later, on June 15th of 2015, how Gypsy Rose Blanchard was already trying to put herself in the media, or her crime was in the media. Not even 6 months later, before 2016 came around, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was already putting all of this in the public mind and was already filming interviews for TV shows, docuseries, documentaries, and even working on her upcoming trial. But that's not the problem. I think a lot of people in society and on social media have seen her actions, words, choices, and behaviors since being released on December 28th of 2023, after serving 8.5 years. She got famous off her crime.
Tragic event surrounded by mystery and public deception.
And now Gypsy Rose Blanchard is only known for her crime, for her lies, and her need for attention.
Keep making content.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and share.